If you're not automating, you're falling behind, which is why on this episode, we're diving into how AI can streamline your business, how it can free up time for high-value tasks, and personalize your customer interactions at scale. Welcome into It's Not Just Talking. I'm Vince Quinn, your executive producer, here to help you sharpen your podcast strategy, improve your production processes, and build your hosting skills so you can put more time back into your business. And today, we're talking with Chris Troka. Now, Chris has an interesting background. He started with an award-winning DJ business and now specializes in leveraging automation and AI for the buyer's journey to drive growth. So he talks about it all in his podcast, Brainwork Framework. And here's our conversation on this show. We are talking with Chris Troka, who, as a business owner, making it happen with Focused Biz. And Chris, you're spending all this time with AI and automation. Now, I think it's important because for people who aren't very familiar with this stuff, they lump it together, and rightfully so, but they are different. So could you just start explaining like the difference between AI and automation as it comes to what you do?
Absolutely. A simple explanation is artificial intelligence is more of a technology that can learn and adapt, while automation is more based on rules and regulations. Now, AI, you can definitely give it some rules and some guidelines, but there's more flexibility with AI. Automation is, again, more based on your human input. Artificial intelligence is scraping a larger data set here, and there's even more subsets of AI. You have image creators, you have large language models, you have voice AI. So the opportunities are endless, but that's just kind of a brief overview between AI and automation.
Yeah, and I guess starting with AI on one side of the aisle, I mean, the depth of the tools is crazy. Like for somebody who actually works in AI, like how much attention do you pay to all of the tools that come out, man? It's crazy.
It's so hard to keep up. AI is infiltrating every single product that we have currently, but the new tools and what they're capable of is now unleashing potential for a lot of these solopreneurs and small business owners. They can now accomplish more with less time and arguably a lot less money. And I would even say that, yes, there's going to be an impact to the job market, but you have to remember that a lot of those people might not have paid for someone on Fiverr or, gone to a traditional agency to get their work done. They just didn't have the budget for it. But now they have the tools that can allow them to do these things. So from AI now crafting personalized email at scale, from auto-responding to inquiries that are based on your parameters, but with more flexibility. This is what AI is doing. It's improving speed to lead. It's taking away a lot of the need for the human touch points, but still needed. We definitely recommend human touch points. We don't want computers and bots running our lives, but they can definitely make our lives and businesses a whole lot easier to manage.
Yeah, and I want to talk about that balance a little bit later down the line. But I think up front, it's interesting because I wanted to almost follow up by asking about different ways to get acclimated, right, for these people who've never dealt with AI before. But the fact of the matter is, it's in everything now. I mean, it really, like, whether you try or pay attention or not, like, every time I'm writing emails now, they're offering AI summaries for things, reading emails. Every time you Google something, the first result is an AI result. Like, it's just AI it's literally integrated into, like, everything that people use.
It is, absolutely. And, AI, with any tool and technology, I always have a healthy amount of skepticism to it. I want, access to my own privacy and data. I want some control over that. But I also want to make sure that we can continue progressing as a civilization here with new technology. This is no different than changing from a hand-turned wrench into an impact driver. So these are tools and pieces that are available to a lot of us just to save us time. For those who want to get started, it's as easy as just asking an AI. Go to ChatGPT, go to Claude, go to Gronk, ask them, what can you do for me? What's possible? What can you do? And it's going to give you a list, a summary of things that it might be possible for you. And it might even ask follow-up questions. Well, what do you need it for? Is there anything that you're struggling with in your business or your personal life? And it can be an incredible tool. I talk to ChatGPT almost daily and use LLMs. Literally, they're running in the background right now for me.
Yeah, I mean, all that stuff is incredible. I have a custom GPT that I use all the time. It's an absolute lifesaver for the business and all the ways that we use it with the podcast, right? Because for us, with our marketing, and you're a marketing guy yourself, like these things are so integrated. So that's part of the reason why I wanted to get you on here and talk about all this stuff, because you are helping people, and especially small business owners, with AI and automation. So can you talk about just some of the processes, some of the ways you go about doing that for people?
Absolutely. So sometimes it involves just a one-on-one with the business, seeing what their problems are, where are they spending most of their time, what things can either be integrated with AI or automation to reduce a lot of that workload. Otherwise, what we've seen for most businesses is the issue of the lead capture and the lead nurture. So a lot of businesses are focused on getting new leads into the system. It's always new leads. And when they get a new lead, they claim it's cold or it's not qualified enough or it's not this or that. We can make tons of excuses. But what I see often enough is the speed to lead. So it takes their office maybe 2 to 15 hours to get back, maybe the next business day, to respond to an inquiry. That person is unfortunately looking at their competitors and who's going to help them first or be the best match. So we're improving speed to lead for businesses to make sure that no call is missed or no form or chat widget conversation goes untouched. So this is where they can get immediate access to an AI employee to serve their business and provide customer service. Once we capture, we can then nurture and provide value throughout their buyer's journey. So again, the 15 hours that it would take for a normal office to get into the office to even respond to a new website lead, we will have already nurtured them, pre-qualified them, had a conversation, and get them ready to go for their next appointment if that's what they're ready for. So this is what AI is currently doing in business.
And it's everything, because for me, I spent, it looks like I have hair. This is a wig. I've gone bald building an automation system for our lead generation. I mean, that thing, it nearly killed me.
Right?
But it's so essential, because that is the thing. I'm running around like crazy. I only have so much time. I know that I want to get back to these people. I know that for me, because here's what our whole system is based on, right? Our whole system is I'm trying to get people for a 10-minute phone call. That's it. So, hey, book this thing, and then whether you're a new show or an existing show, I have a different path that I take people on to get to that same call. So that's what my whole system is based on. But building out all the automations, like you said, so this action happens, and then I do this, and writing out all the emails and everything, like it's so much work to build it. But then knowing that, well, because we're going to launch an ad campaign around it. So knowing that once that launches, I don't have to do anything. And all these people are coming through. Like I'm so giddy for it, honestly.
Yes, and that's exactly it. It is opening up more possibilities for you to scale and grow. And once you build it once, that's an investment, and it's a worthwhile investment to do it once, because you map out your entire customer's journey. What friction points, what questions are they going to have? How do I kind of lead them through that process? Then that's when you can, again, I'm going to put an ad campaign behind this, because you already built it. It's already set to nurture. Now, what's cool with AI is how it can work together with the automation. So instead of actually deciding, okay, I need to wait 3 days, wait for clicker open, and then I'm going to send this, pre-crafted template to them. AI can now go back to the conversation history, know what pain points you already talked about, and then customize a message directly for you. And this can be done at scale. So when you think about these ad campaigns, you're following up with personalized messaging via email or text for each individual at scale. This is absolutely crazy what AI can do now. So we're using it to enrich our data, to enrich all the leads we have, to provide more customer insights. And then we use that insight to have more personalized conversation at scale. It's crazy.
It's absolutely unbelievable, man. I mean, to be able to implement all this stuff. And I got to be honest, too, like just peeling the curtain back a little bit, I think your particular story of getting involved in AI is so fascinating. Because, and you could certainly lay that out to people, but the path that you took to get involved with AI, I think if you could explain to people what that transition was like for you and how it fueled you to go and build a business out of it, I think it's a great story.
Yeah, absolutely. So my first entrepreneurial journey started 11 years ago when I started DJing for weddings. I eventually turned it into a real business, made a website, got an official domain and email, and grew and scaled into a team of DJs. We're now an award-winning wedding DJ service offering DJ and photo booth services here in southeastern Wisconsin. And this evolution into AI and technology and automation was almost a necessity for me. So I didn't get into business so I can work 60 hours a week. I don't know about you, but that wasn't for me. So I want to spend as much time as I can, enriching, my personal self-fulfillment, helping others. And I can't do that while I'm weighed down with all this. So I went back to school for marketing. During COVID, that's when I made, we lost all of our weddings to COVID. No one could have events more than 25 people. So that's when I made the shift into marketing and technology. Got into a few Facebook groups, mentors that shifted my mindset on taking technology to the next level. And then AI hit. And then it was just this frenzy. So it was both a necessity for my own business and then seeing how it could help other businesses as well. And I'm just blown away each day, week, and month that goes by. A new tool or a new feature that comes out in a tool set you already have that completely changes the game. This is just, it's an exciting time to be alive.
Yeah. Is there anything recently that's particularly blown you away? Like what's something recently you've been like, whoa?
Yeah, absolutely. So both from just prompting GPT, asking them a question, and they're almost thinking 12 steps ahead. So when I ask, something so simple, they are thinking ahead and they say, well, I think you're asking this because of this, and we're going to provide you with this information, and let's expand that a bit further. And then I'm like, wow, that's pretty incredible. The second thing that's blowing my mind away is just the personalized conversation that AI can have in response. This is a flexible, adaptable, conversational AI. So you can kind of mold and craft the personality to however you like. You can have shorter, medium, longer responses. Again, it's all contextual. It's based on previous conversations. So now AI can scan an email to extract data. Before, we would need an automation tool, right? We would use an API and that data would need to be set into something. AI can scan and find it. If you have a little keyword or a snippet that it's looking for, it can find it, no matter if that changes direction on where it's placed in the email. So now your APIs won't get messed up if a data string is now mismatched. It's going to find it. So yes, this just takes automation. It's like, wow, it's going to take half the time to set up, and it's going to do more and personalize at a larger scale. So that's blowing my mind, is that it's providing context from previous conversations to adapt to the conversation. That's just crazy. That's what humans are doing currently.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. And it's crazy to think that this stuff is coming out so often in so many different ways that it's almost like it's not news, or it's hard to find anything about it. Like,
right.
I saw an ad, just casually scrolling LinkedIn earlier today. It was a whole system that was built exclusively for AI ads. And it made, that Coca-Cola ad that came out a while ago around Christmas time, and it had all the trucks and it was fully AI. They replicated that in this app, all Pepsi. And they did the same thing. And it looked the same, if not better. And it's like to think that there's now a specialized AI tool that is built exclusively for commercials, and you can go to it just for that. Like, the level of specialization is just insane. I mean, it's crazy. So
yes,
yeah. So let me ask you this, though, because we got into it a little bit from a business side, and I kind of drifted us because I'm on like 2 hours of sleep and I'm a little squirrely today. But thinking about ways that you can get these tools, AI, automation, and apply it to a business. Like, sales is huge because obviously everybody's looking to get more clients. That's why you do a podcast more often than not, right? You want to get leads, you want to build relationships, you're trying to make more money. But just from that other side, what are the other things that you can install into a business and help somebody out when it comes to the AI and automation?
Absolutely. So a lot of it focuses on both the lead identification, data enrichment, and then the outreach and nurturing process. So kind of how do I find a lead? Where are they? How do I connect with them? How do I nurture them and become a client? So from that entire journey, we start with the search intent. So there's data points available where either businesses are searching for a keyword or a term, or an individual is searching for this, and you can create a personalized outreach message based on their situation. So I can find leads who are interested in business automation, right? And then I'm going to assign my AI. I want you to go to this, find this company website, craft, how they're helping, personalize an outreach message, and try to elicit a reply from this conversation. So it's going to take that lead and do its analytics, and then outreach with a personalized message to it. From there, it's going to make revive attempts to say, hey, every between 3 days and 7 days, we're always going to reach out with a little touch point. And then it's going to anticipate what the customer kind of needs. So now, based on previous conversations you had with your client, or based on the chat or email conversations that AI was having, now we can craft a proposal based specific to their situation. So For example, I just created a lead magnet called an AI employee calculator, where I just ask people, how many employees do you think you'll need? And we're going to see how much money it's going to save you. So they go through a few prompts. It enters their industry. What kind of roles do you think it might need? And then in the back end, my AI employees are going to scan their website. They're going to see where they can find missed opportunities in the buyer's journey and help to nurture that. So again, it's just the personalization. It's so cool to see your reactions. It's cool to see your reaction, because that's how I felt, just excited and giddy. It might be the lack of sleep, but I think these are so cool.
It's so badass too. I mean, because for you, like the whole system being built on AI and automation, like the less you're involved, the more impressive it is for you to sell. You know what I mean?
Right. Right. You're like, I don't have to do almost anything on this. And again, it's like, we don't want to remove human touch points or even get rid of employees, but assign them to higher value tasks. Think about what your time is worth. I'm sure you don't, spend as much time either directly editing podcasts or doing, you now find a team, people who can support you, and you delegate so you can focus on higher value tasks. That's what AI and technology is doing now.
Yeah. And so with all of that in the place, because the extreme that you do see is, for all the AI stuff that's out there, there's things that are like, oh yeah, that's AI. And like you come out with this balance where on some levels it's impressive and other times you're like, all right, buddy, put some effort in. You know what I mean? So
Yes.
you mentioned this earlier, and now we have the chance to circle back. See what I did there? Balancing humanity in all of this. So, I mean, what is your approach? Like, I'm a client, I'm coming to you, I want all this AI help. How would you recommend balancing that human element into all of this AI?
Absolutely. So that's something important, is that, people like, leads, people who have problems that they need solved, consumers, they like the option for self-service, but they want an opportunity to have a human touch point available for them. They love self-service. They want quick answers, but they also want the option for a human. So we love to combine both of that together. So again, when we're able to free up some of those typical support requests, customer service questions, people calling the office, what are your hours? Do you accept this, or can you work with this? Those things can be handled through an AI first. And then when necessary, escalate to what we call a human handoff or a human takeover, where it's like, there's certain things we don't want AI doing for us. Maybe price negotiations that aren't well-defined. Maybe you have a predefined 10% off coupon, but anything else has to go to a manager. Or maybe you have a special approval process for scheduling. So these are the points where we want to decide where AI can help remove a lot of the friction in that journey, in that experience. And then it can take over for the human touch point, but not to be a roadblock. So we still want to continue nurturing and moving them through the journey with the right follow-up sequences, without taking away that human touch point. So find this balance. If I were, example, maybe McDonald's, offer a self-serve kiosk, but I'm going to have 1 to 2 people up front with a smiling face, because customer service, human connection is still very, very valuable. Relationships really matter. And you can't have AI replace that completely, not yet.
Yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense. And like from our side, because we've asked this question to ourselves as we're building the show and the business and everything else. I mean, for me, the biggest thing personally has been, okay, for anything that's going out that's writing, because for me, I'm using AI to write is part of it, right? So I have the newsletter, which is based on the podcast, which I get a transcript of. I load it into AI, I fine tune everything, and then I go and I get the newsletter and I put it out. But I'm constantly refining the AI to truly be my voice. Is the trick. So, because you look around and I notice all these certain phrases, and part of it is because I'm seeing the posts that we put out, and then I'm seeing the other posts that other people are putting out. I'm like, I'm seeing that phrase a lot, or like, I'm seeing this writing style a lot. And I just go into my bot from time to time. I'm banning stuff. Like, I banned the word fluff from my bot. I'm like, no fluff. Fluff is everywhere. Fluff is banned.
I banned delve. I'm like, we're not going to delve into any more topics, man.
Yeah.
In this episode, no, don't say that.
Yeah, we're not delving in anything. And it's funny because some of the things are like good, solid terms, but they get used so much that it gets frustrating. And so when you're promoting, it's like it feels cold. For example, actionable insights. Like,
hell yeah, I want actionable insights. You know what I mean? But when I hear it in literally everything that's ever written anywhere on any site or any, it's just like at some point I'm like, I don't give a shit about actionable. Yeah, like leave me alone. I don't care. So it's just it gets part of it is I get tired of it, but I'm always working to make sure that I'm editing these things, I'm loading them back into the system, I'm giving it the transcript, so then that way it's hearing me talk, so it's actually getting the script of what I actually say and how I say it. So for those kinds of things, it's been really helpful, and that's really how we promote our show and try to keep that human element.
If you're listening to this, chances are that your business podcast is struggling, but you're not sure what's holding it back. That's why I created the Podcast Compass Quiz, and in just 5 minutes, you'll get clarity on what's working, what's not, and where to focus your energy next. Best part? It's completely free. So hit the link in the show notes to take the quiz now.
Taking it over to you and your show, because let's talk about Brainwork Framework. We haven't had the chance to do that. That is your podcast. First off, how did you start this show?
This show started back in 2022 when my best friend and I were both entrepreneurs, just kind of experiencing that journey. We wanted an excuse to record ourselves and have conversations about business. I think we were probably just sitting around and saying, we're having these conversations already, why not record them? So we published 16 episodes about marketing, business, sales, all the tips and tricks that we love. Over the next year or so, I started to get influence from other people who were inviting guests onto podcasts and having some success with that, getting ideas from others. So I started to improve the content, started welcoming guests onto the show, and then that started to go crazy. We were publishing maybe once a month, then into once a week. Now we're at 3 times per week.
Woo!
And I'm having podcast recordings maybe 3 to 5 times per week. But this is a part of our process and what we do. It's both that we love the conversations and tips and tricks that we get from people. It's also a great lead magnet for us where we can have one-on-one conversations with business owners who are obviously trying to market themselves if they're being a guest on a podcast. But again, we just share tips and tricks, build relationships naturally, and then see where that conversation evolves. It doesn't always become a client, but if they like you, know you, and trust you enough and like your offer, they're going to think of you the next time, the word AI or automation or marketing possibly comes up. But that was the evolution of Brainwork Framework. We're doing 3 episodes. We added all the social channels now, the YouTube, the TikTok, just kind of getting the snippets out there. And for guests, it's great because we do 2 short snippets per guest. The full episode, we add studio sound, just the real nice production pieces that just add to the value of it. And I appreciate what you do with your podcast as well, just constantly improving. As you mentioned, even with your AI, hey, there's ways we can refine and improve this as the same we do with our businesses, our podcasts, and everything. So kudos to you as well with your podcast and everything you're refining and improving on.
Yeah, thanks. I mean, it's the whole game, right? Everything is refinement. It's just how it works. If you were trying to say, hey, this is a finished product, like it's not even something you could execute, it wouldn't make any sense, it's not any good. Like it's just you have to get out there. And I think that's the balance too, right? Is people look at a podcast and usually say, oh, well, I'm just going to go out there and do it, which is right on some level. But there also has to be a balance of I understand what my business is and I have clear messaging and I put all of that together. So sometimes people just get started but have no idea of anything even. It's a complete side hustle with no identification that they even have a business. So being able to put that together for us was easy, but then instructing other people to do that and make sure they continue to apply it is everything. I mean, that's really what we've based the show around is I'm always telling people on here, just, hey, just next time you do it or as you're going forward, just don't beat yourself up. It's always getting better. That's the game. There's too much to this, man. There's just too many things to take care of and be great at. And running a business is hard enough as it is.
Absolutely. Whether it's your personal life, your business, or your podcast, it's always striving to improve. It's that balance between taking action without any clear direction. I'm sure we've all just sort of existed either in life or business or our podcast and without any clear direction. But over time, that refinement, and the act of doing it, actual podcasting, it becomes more serious. And then through that experience, you can refine beyond that. So I think that's an important step is to not get stuck into this I need to watch one more video, read one more book before I start my podcast. Yeah, go out there and do it, but have a little bit of strategy, but know that you can always refine later. You can always change your logo, update the name, change the style completely, change the format or topic. So don't feel like you can't ever get started because you're not 100% sure. I think we're all examples of, hey, you can change at any time and kind of change your direction.
Yeah, and the processes are the same thing, right? When you're talking about AI automation, incorporating those in the business, you just get your hands on it, start doing something like try making your life easier.
Yes, we have a collective knowledge, and these are it's a training data and our prompts that we kind of put in. We kind of know what to expect, as business owners for marketing pieces or sales, or how we want to construct and work things together. But as we kind of build these into AI, they're kind of taking away that thought process for us, and just making it a little bit easier, and kind of gives us our own clarity and direction. I can't tell you how many times I've gone to ChatGPT and said like, hey, I'm just going to brain dump here. Give me some direction. And it gives me some great actionable insights as we delve into those topics. So it's really great. It just
You're banned. All right, the show's over.
That's it. I was like, how could I work this in?
Nice work. That's awesome. But yeah, man, like it's so fascinating. I mean, for you, because like being an AI guy, automation guy, having a podcast, like how deep is the legwork that automation and all is doing for you in these processes for running the show?
Yeah, so that's been great. It's been a refinement over time, because over time we'll see, first it's going to be guests are like, hey, what kind of questions are you going to ask me? Okay, now I need a after booking pre-podcast, what to expect email. And then they say, oh, what can I expect for this? So these things you kind of learn along the way. But I'm using AI right now for every guest application. They obviously submit their information, headshot, company info. After they submit their info, my AI scans their website and also takes their details to provide me 3 titles, 3 descriptions, and a social media post that I could potentially use for the podcast. So now using this info, I upload it into another form, and it just sends out to another API. So that can auto post a blog post to your WordPress website with the details and information. You can send it out to another third party and, create a Google document from this, and just make a copy and store it in another drive and provide them access to this. So I'm using AI in that way. The automation piece is for the follow-up, for the scheduling, for the management. From the moment they schedule that calendar appointment, there's set automations that go out, planning and preparing them for the next step, just as you would for your podcast. I got great podcast reminder emails. Here's the link in case you missed it. Here's what to expect. Here's another reminder. These are just great touch points. So that way, one, you're confirming your calendar appointment in case they forgot or maybe need to reschedule. You can fill that appointment for you. And again, it just makes you look more professional and polished when you have all these things together. You look organized and you're like, wow, I'm really excited to be working with Vince. I'm confident in his ability to put everything through from the beginning to the end.
Yeah, it's such a relief, because working on those different things of getting people to confirm and whatever you want to do in those systems. I mean, it's just such a relief, because I really hate, like, I'm very strict on appointments. I show up, I'm on time, I'm always ready. I've missed, like, in the entire time I've been in business, I think I've just totally like brain farted and missed one meeting the entire time I've been running this thing. So I'm always strict about it. But then the amount of times I get a no call, no show, and it just drives me nuts, man. Like, anything I can do to prevent that and keep it going, because as much as obviously we've been talking about this in podcasting and everything else, it's all time. It's all like, it's all just, okay, maximizing time, getting these things off your plate, making the processes more efficient and faster, and just building the business. So yeah, I mean, when you can build systems in like that make it easy to be like, hey, you're coming, right? I mean, you told me you're coming, so I'm expecting you there, and you're going to be there, right? And if they don't, you can label them in the system and be like, this son of a bitch didn't show. So you can note that, and I think that's just such a beautiful thing. So thinking like CRM. So if people don't know what a CRM system is, the idea of it's what, client relations, customer relations management software. So everybody that you have business with, you can track all these people, you get all their data, name, you can get their like occupation and emails and phone numbers and all that stuff. But you can also track through these automations that Chris is doing special things of how they interact with you. And from there, okay, well, this person went to your website and they clicked on a certain thing. So now you can enter them in an email automation that's going to keep that. It's a 4-part drip campaign about this certain thing because they showed interest in it. Like, it's just crazy how it all ties together. As much as podcasts I love because they are the center of an ecosystem, like they can supply all of your content. But when you get that automation supplied with that, beyond that, I mean, oh my God, it feels like I'm watching the atom, like all these different quick spiraling circles that are all connected around this like supercharged central thing. It's just, it's crazy, the energy from it.
It is absolutely, but this is what allows us to scale and to take our time back, because for each email or touch point that you would have done manually is now automated. And again, like you mentioned, the systems are smart. So if it recognizes one, the website, you can send an extra drip campaign. Maybe it realized that inquiry didn't schedule their meeting yet. Let's send another reminder, say, hey, you didn't book your meeting with us yet. So these smart systems, the AI, the automation, they're all working together now to create a more frictionless customer journey and experience for them while hyper-personalizing it to you as the individual, and it can even think ahead. So it's just crazy what these tools can do, how they're benefiting our businesses, our podcasts. I almost feel like I've started 4 or 5 new businesses in the last month just because of the time that I'm saving and the new ideas I've come up with. Because I'm like, I could use that same exact tool to solve this problem. People would pay $100 a month for that. That's easy. Oh, I see that I can create this to solve this problem. They'd pay $200 for that. So it's like I'm creating these mini little businesses, these mini offers, utilizing the AI automation as I see it really changing the friction in the customer's buyer's journey. It's huge.
So how much of that is informed from being a podcast host and guest? I mean, being able to just like have all these conversations with people.
Yeah, so it was definitely helpful, both the business experience, getting the marketing degree, but the knowledge that I've attained in the last 4 years compared to the schooling is incredible. There's something about hands-on experience, meeting and networking with other people. If you find that you're the smartest person in the room, you should find another room. So you definitely want to surround yourself with people who are more advanced, more successful, people who you can provide value to as well. And exchange and network with ideas. The more we can build each other up with knowledge. A lot of us are either like, we're in the same space, but different industries, or it's like same industry, but we offer different solution. So it's like all these different opportunities out there for businesses to work together to build each other up. I find is a huge benefit for everyone.
Yeah, selfishly, it's great to just be like, oh, you're in this business. I don't know anything about this. Can I ask you things about it for 20 minutes? Awesome. I would love to do that. And
usually they're so excited too, because they're passionate and they're like, oh, wow, someone is interested in hearing me talk. Isn't that so cool?
Yeah. And it beats because the school element, I think, is a big one. Like, the problem with the school stuff is it's all vague because they can't get too deep into the specifics because every business is different and all the niches of that business and whatever. There's a million ways it can go once you actually get into the workforce. So they can only cover so much. And once you get into that specialization of, okay, these are the exact workflows that I use, and these are the way, the philosophies that I've built for this specific thing that we sell to this specific kind of client. I mean, to pick the brains of people who have clearly established themselves at being great at doing that, even if only 10% of it actually applies or I can do myself, I mean, man, the value is it's unreal.
Right. It's almost like you're getting a free consultation from coaches and consultants who might offer this or a business owner. They're providing you these key insights that you wouldn't gather otherwise, or maybe you'd have to buy a $20 to $50 workbook or a book just to find out that information, but you'd have to invest 5 to 6 hours reading that book to get that one actionable insight. So if you want to delve into the whole book, that's fine. But for those who don't want to, having the podcast as a quick resource to tips and tricks, that's what I'm all about. And automation allows me to have 3 to 5 appointments per week, and probably more. It's just up to us, and as far as how hard do we want to work. You and I both love our naps, so it's like, hey, we can't take away too much of that time. We got to have some time for ourselves too.
That's right. So balancing everything, and you're making it happen. So Chris, for everybody who wants to keep up with you, learn more about automation, incorporate it into their business, how do they catch up with you?
Absolutely. Everyone can find me on LinkedIn, Christopher Troka, or my website, which is focus-biz.com.
So Chris, an absolute pleasure. Thank you for coming on the show. Really enjoyed our time.
Vince, I appreciate it. You're amazing. Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to the show. Make sure to subscribe to the newsletter to get more podcast insights. That link is in the show notes. And if you're feeling stuck with your podcast, let's figure it out together. Book a free 10-minute chat with me. The link to do that is also in the show notes. Talk to you next week.